Who here regularly asks themselves, how do I grow my business? Show of hands. Interesting. That is a 50-cent question. I want you to ask yourselves the $5 million questions. Not how can I grow my business? Can my business survive the growth that I'm chasing? So are you ready? If I doubled the amount of clients who come to you, if I doubled your income, do you have the capability to follow that through? And after 35, nearly 40 years of business experience, I can tell you that success hides more problems than failure. I want you to think about that for a second. When things are going very well, you're not seeing underneath that the things are bubbling up. I'm very hot, sorry. It's a great time for hot flashes right at the beginning of talking. I just absolutely love menopause. It's a brilliant thing. Every man should experience it. So, bigger business comes with more pressure on people, on leaders, on systems, on communication, and on decision making. Growth doesn't create weakness. It exposes your weakness. When we take something that's very small and we expand it out to grow bigger, things that were tiny, niggly little things when it was small are now gaping holes. And if you do not get that right, growing your business will just make it crash. And I know that's scary, but I'm going to show you how to never do that. Businesses don't become sustainable by accident, and that's the other thing. When we're talking about sustainable business growth, that's okay, we waited for you. Here you go. There's a couple of seats up the front. I won't pull focus to you at all and make you feel uncomfortable. So, growth does not create weakness. It exposes your weaknesses. So where are the things at the moment that sit in the background that you know you need to work on, but you just have either ignored it or have just gone, I don't know how to manage those things. We become sustainable. And when I'm talking sustainable business growth, I'm talking that no matter how big we made it, if we doubled your clients and we tripled your income, could you sustain that level of growth ongoing? Most businesses will answer no to that question, simply because of those little things that get bigger as we expand out. And if we don't address those things, they will come undone. It's like pulling on a thread on your jacket. You keep pulling, all of a sudden the jacket just unfurls. So today we're going to uncover what capability actually looks like. Right, so are you ready? So, good afternoon. Now, I did say good morning to the lady who walked in before because I'm fully switched into the moment. So, good afternoon. I'm Donna Morrison. I'm the founder of Mentor My Success. We are a boutique consultancy managing people, process, and performance risk. We look at businesses just like yours, from owner-operators right through to businesses with 150, 200 people. I don't work on businesses bigger than that because they would generally have their in-house training team or their in-house HR team. Now, don't let the packaging fool you. I have extensive experience across trades, community services, disability, health and wellness, and business and leadership. I am one of Australia's first female electricians back in 1984 when girls just didn't do that type of thing. I was saying to a group that I was talking to this morning that my toilet, because I wasn't allowed to go to the same bathroom as the men, my toilet was 1.5 k's from where my office was, or from where our workshop was. So I was always in trouble because you take so long, Donna. Say, well, if you're going to walk that far to go to the toilet, you're going to take a long time too. So back then there were no equal rights, there were no occupational health and safety, we were run by unions, it was very, very different. Sorry, I'm having a serious hot flush. Where are we up to? It's really hot, isn't it? It's not just me. I'm absolutely cooking. So my focus is simple. We support people and organisations to perform at their best. I'm also very passionate about combining AI into your business in a way, again, that is sustainable for your growth. Make no mistake, AI is not going to solve your problems. It is going to show you where those problems are. We use AI in business. It'll make a good business better. It won't make a bad business better. The bad business will be exactly the same. AI is just a tool, but if you use it well, it can be an incredible tool in your business, particularly if you have a small business or a small team, because the amount of time that it can save you once that's set up is just unbelievable. My philosophy is get up, dress up, and show up. Anyone who's done a workshop with me before knows that I am incredibly passionate about this. How you get up in the morning, how you dress up for your day, how you show up for the people in your world and for yourself matters. When you are leading people, nothing matters more than that. That is the most important thing. How you show up is how they'll show up. What you let slide is what they'll let slide. What you display is what they'll display. Our purpose at Mentor My Success is to build leadership capability that creates confident leaders, accountable teams, and sustainable business performance. We believe leadership is never about having all the answers. It's about creating an environment where people know what's expected, they can take ownership, and have the confidence to perform at their best. Oh, I popped this in the wrong place, but that's okay. We can talk about this now. So we talk a lot about AI, what it can do, how can it save me time? That's the most common question I get asked in relation to AI. How can it save me time? What about the question of how can it help my clients? I'm a leadership coach, I'm a mentor, I'm a business consultant. So I'm thinking, how can AI do something for the people that I work with? Being neurodivergent, which just means that I'm ADHD and on the spectrum and all those lovely, lovely things that make my mind all bouncy and interesting. People I work with have nervous systems up here, and I work with young people as well. So I'm working with a lot of people that don't know how to settle down and be calm. So instead of thinking, how can I get AI to help me in my business? How can I get AI to help my clients? So in 6 days, I actually got kicked out of Claude Code because I used it so much. It actually bounced me out for the last 4 days of the month. Said, no, you've used all your tokens and all your quotas and everything that you could possibly use. And I've built an app that is all about calming the nervous system. And it is so much fun to play. If you're interested, let me know later. I'm looking for beta testers. So to have a play, see what you think, and but I want you guys to think about in your business who your clients are. How could you use AI to make their lives better, not just your life better? Growth reveals cracks. It doesn't create the crack. As I said, when we take something that's small and we expand it, things that were tiny holes that didn't matter are now gaping holes that matter in a huge way. Great leadership is not about having all the answers. It's about asking the right questions. At the beginning, I said, how can I grow my business? 50-cent question. I want you to ask the $1 million questions, the $100 million questions. They're the questions that are going to make your business great. So instead of asking, why did this go wrong? Ask, who do I need to become to turn this challenge into an opportunity? Instead of asking, why aren't they listening to me? We can ask, How can I communicate in a way that invites trust, curiosity, and action? Instead of asking, how do I avoid conflict? How do I hold strong boundaries while creating a space for honest dialogue? You see the difference between the cheap question and the expensive question. I want you to really think about across your life, not just in business, how often you're asking the 50-cent questions. Why are the kids driving me effing nuts and and can't my hubby just put the bin out? 50-cent questions. Think about the big questions. So I want you now, so there's blank paper there, and you've also got paper there with some great questions on it. So I want you to craft 2 powerful questions you can ask your team when you get back. So think of some questions that you've been asking yourself, those 50-cent questions. I want you to think about some big questions, even if you can just come up with one big question that you can use when you go back to work. And I will get away from that heater because I'm absolutely, it's just hitting me right in the face. Yeah, see if they can, Jack. Thank you. I'm not sure if, yeah. It's where I'm standing is just, I'm just being hit in the face with hot air. So, pen. I do. One for you. Jack. All right, I'm probably going to run out of pens, but I'm going to try really hard. All right, I've got 4 dodgy looking pens from the bottom of my bag. Does anyone else need a pen?
Unless I use the work pen.
Yeah, it's probably not going to work. Everyone else got a pen? Awesome. I'll leave those there just in case any of the others don't work. So, at least one powerful question you can ask your team when you get back to work. Or ask yourself, if you're an owner-operator, what's a better quality question you can ask yourself? Yeah, cool. Yeah. That's so much better. I'm not sure if that's cooler for you guys, but that's so much better for me. Is anyone stuck for a question? Oh, little bit. All right. So does someone want to share their question? Come on, Ruby, you're looking right at me.
So I've got a staff member who will eventually become co-director, and so we are working their way up to that. So we've got an actual development plan and whatever. So what's been happening over the couple of years now that we've been working towards that is that they've got this big end goal and they're really focused on that, and that's what they're connected with. They're not actually connected with or necessarily enjoying the journey of getting there. They just want to be there. They see the dollar signs. They, all that kind of stuff. So my question is, how can we get to a point where this person is actually enjoying and connected with their job right here, right now, not just this thing in the future?
Absolutely. So they're focused on the carrot and they can't wait to get that carrot, but they're not actually looking at where they're at now and the journey towards that carrot. So a great quality question. What's motivating you in this? So if I'm talking to that person, I'd say, what's motivating you to take on this role? What are you seeing? Now, if that person, because you work in disability, if I remember, okay, so if that person is really focused on the carrot and really isn't about the day-to-day, and they can't tell you what their motivation is, they're probably not the right person in the right role, okay? The wrong bum on the wrong seat can crush any business. It doesn't matter how big it is. You put the wrong person in charge or you put the wrong person in the wrong place. Often when I go into businesses, it's not about getting rid of staff. Sometimes it's just about taking that person and saying, you know what, we're just going to change their focus that bit. Might be someone who is more focused on, say, income generation, someone who is better at talking with the clients and things like that. So it's just because that's the job that they want, and if they're not enjoying the journey towards that role, it's probably not the right role. So I would be going back and really having some conversations with them around their motivation towards. So what's got you wanting to do this role? What do you see it as? How do you see that playing out within our business?
That's what's actually bringing this up for me, is that their vision of what that role will be is not really reality.
Okay, yep, because it's all the good stuff without the hard stuff.
Yeah.
And disability is hard. You know, it's incredibly rewarding, but it's hard work. So absolutely, that's a great question. Thank you, Ruby. Megan.
Yeah, I recently just got a new staff member, and in my work, it's really my clients are really anxious.
Yeah, it's annoying me.
I support them planning safely, and then my staff member sent me a message saying how annoying she was finding on the time. That was just
Wow. Yep.
really anxious, and it just occurred to me that she wasn't able to see from a psychological perspective what it wasn't. She was being annoying, she was anxious.
Absolutely, and for a reason.
Yeah, for a good reason, and that's actually what our work is.
Yes.
To solve that problem, and that's what we're getting paid for.
Yeah.
So I realised either I've got the wrong person, or in my hiring, it was really important to make that a really key point in someone's skills, that they have the capacity, and to how do I hold that culture in my business, that that's like the key
Absolutely.
service
Yes.
that we're offering, and then how does AI support that from
Absolutely.
start to finish, not replace it,
Mm-mm.
but
As a tool in it.
no,
Yes.
add support to that whole, like holding someone and making them feel really safe, and
Absolutely.
the whole journey from start to finish.
Absolutely, because it is a journey. And for clients, when you're working with clients, so around food sensitivity, if that person eats the wrong thing, it's not just I'm going to feel sick for the rest of today. It may knock them out for weeks. It may put them in the hospital. So do you have a vision, mission, values for your business? Okay. Does anyone have a vision, mission, values for their business? Okay, a few. Awesome. Everybody else, it doesn't matter if you are an owner operator. Vision, what it is you're trying to achieve, your mission, how you're going to achieve that, the values, how do you show up in the world? If you don't have that, how are you going to tell other people and draw in the right people that are going to fit into that space? So if people don't know how they're supposed to show up, if they don't know what values that you align with, how are you going to know whether or not they're compatible values, or whether or not you're going to have someone who's more interested in money, maybe someone who's less tolerant of other people's difficulties, maybe just that they don't understand what other people are going through because maybe they've never gone through something similar. So when we have our vision, mission, values, it sets out who we are as a business, how we show up in the world, and what people should be expecting from us. And that doesn't matter if you're an electrician, it doesn't matter whether you are running a service, it doesn't matter whether you're an online service. How you show up in the world matters. It matters to the people who work for you, and it matters to your clients. We'll do one more question, someone else's $1 million question that you want to be brave and tell me. Let's go with you.
Right.
What was your name?
Harris.
Harris. Lovely to meet you, Harris.
I work in the technology business.
Mhm.
I implement HR and payroll solutions for multinationals. So I work with a team, and the biggest impact for us nowadays is AI.
Yes.
Right. So my two questions will be one to my team members who
Yes.
are working on different projects. Is that how can we use AI better to reduce their workload?
Yes.
Because now with the current scenarios, the project timelines are becoming
Mhm.
compressed, and people,
And the sprints are really short.
yes, and they are expected to deliver more.
Mhm.
This is causing a lot of burnout.
Absolutely.
So that's one question I would ask
Yes.
them. We are looking at different things to use AI. Obviously, all our work there's AI that's involved. And also the other question was like, how can we better use AI to deliver quality service on our project as well? So both
Absolutely. They're great questions. Yes. They're interlinked with each other. So how can we as a team? It's not about you as the leader having to come up with all the answers. Most people get into leadership because they were great at their job. They're then promoted into a position of leadership. Now their job is managing other people. That's a whole different job to what you had before. And nobody teaches the skill set. No one says, right, you're going to be managing people. Let's just take you to the side and teach you how to manage human beings. Getting the best out of your team means that you are not the person coming up with the answers. That is your team's job. Your job is to guide them. So asking them, hey, guys, how do you think we can employ these tools to make our world better, to give us less stress for certain, and timelines are tighter in every business. There just isn't the kind of flexibility that we used to have. The world is just going so fast, and we have to, in business, keep up with that. So how can we do that? Great question. Really, really good question. And getting the team to come up with the ideas. When we have to come up with the ideas all the time, number one, you're going to be exhausted. But number two, you're not actually doing your job well. When you are leading other people, your job is to make them their best, not you your best. Your job is to help them step up, to help them be their best selves. When you have a meeting with people, so if we had a meeting here and I said, right, we're going to be implementing AI in X, Y, and Z. What's your name? Carl?
Yeah, Kyle.
Kyle, in Kyle's business. What do you think we should do? Now, most leaders will talk first. Right, Kyle, I think we should do X, Y, and Z. And now I'll go around the room. What happens when I've spoken first? I've taken away everybody else's ability because I'm the boss. I'm the person in a position of power. And if I say, I think this is the best idea, people with great ideas are not going to speak up because they're going, oh, well, she's already said this and, gee, I'm way away from that. My idea is probably not great. If you haven't read Simon Sinek, I encourage you all to read Simon Sinek. He is an amazing leadership coach, and he's written a book called Leaders Eat Last, but it's essentially Leaders Speak Last. Okay, our job is to find out what the people are thinking, and then we come up with that was a great idea. Oh, I'm not sure about this idea. We can table that for later. But really getting the best out of everyone means that we are quiet. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay. As I said, great leadership is not accidental. It is intentional. And there are 3 questions I ask myself every day, and I encourage you to write these down. The first question I ask myself is, what will I focus on? So where your focus goes, your energy flows. If you are focusing on the negative, then you are going to see lots of negative outcomes. If you're focused on the positive, you're going to see lots of positive outcomes. We choose our perspective and we choose possibility when we look at what we're focused on. So that's question number 1. What am I focused on? Question number 2, what does that mean? So your brain assigns meaning automatically. This is good, that's bad, this is easy, that's hard. Slow it down. Challenge the story and look behind the obvious. Now, I apologise to the men in the room, but it is something that pops up all the time. And I say this to the ladies in the room as well. For husbands and boyfriends, when your girlfriend is giving you a hard time about leaving the toothpaste lid off, it is not about the toothpaste. Look behind the obvious. This morning we were in a group and I asked, who lives with someone of the opposite sex? And a whole bunch of people put their hand up. And I said, right, do you help out or do you do your part? Now, helping out might mean that you do all the cooking, but do you see it? And you are awesome. You are awesome. Excellent. But is that your role, or were you helping Kylie by doing that? Because it's about mindset. So were you helping Kylie by doing it, or were you doing your part? Awesome. How long have you been married? No, that's not true. That's not true. How long have you been married? I would say in the 20-year mark. Yeah. And happily married. I know Paul's wife. She's a beautiful, beautiful human being. Are you doing your part, or are you helping out? Same deal in business. Are you leaving all the decisions and all the pressure to someone else and helping out when you can, or are you taking on your part of the load? Hey, Ange. It's getting cooler. If you can leave it open and I don't have to die, that'd be wicked. But if we're too loud, you can shut it. It's up to you. Are you girls at the end bothered by the noise out there? No. Okay, all good. I got a big voice. So we've said, first question, what will I focus on? Second question, what does that mean? Third question, what action will I take? So if I'm focused on the negative, the story is, life's not fair, it's too hard, and it shouldn't be my responsibility. What action am I going to take? Nothing that's going to have any value at all. But if I'm focused on possibility, if the story that I'm telling myself is, wow, you know what, we can do this, what action am I going to take? I'm going to take really positive, powerful action because I can, because I'm focused on the outcome. And that's not the same as only looking for the carrot. It's about looking at where we are today and becoming conscious leaders. Okay. Have I done that? No. There we go. All right. So how does AI fit into this space? It's really important, as I said before, to understand that AI is not a capability replacement. It is a capability amplifier. It amplifies whatever capability already exists. Strong businesses become stronger, weak businesses become exposed so much faster. Has anyone seen, I've tried to do videos on these before and it just hasn't worked, so I'm going to describe it. Have you ever seen where they have an ant, like a, ant? On a piece of paper, they draw a circle around it and the ant can't get out of the circle? Yep. Why? Why can't ant get out of a circle? It's a line on a piece of paper. It thinks it's a barrier. Okay, it's not an actual barrier, it thinks it's a barrier. What happens once the ant gets past the barrier? You can never trap it in a circle again because it's seen that there's no barrier there. As human beings, we get stuck in limited beliefs. So what I want you to look at right now, and just write on your back of your page or wherever you're writing, where have you had your own beliefs, your own limiting beliefs holding you back? And what story have you accepted in your space as fact that's really a circle on a piece of paper? So if you're looking for business growth, why aren't you there? What's the thing that's stopped you being here or being further down the track? So what's holding you back? Where are you stuck? Is it a mindset thing? Are you concerned that your business doesn't have the capability to grow? Is it maybe about staff and you decide that staff are really hard to get? So it's a conversation I hear quite often is getting good people is very hard. I guarantee you getting good people is easy. But first you have to understand what good looks like. First you have to understand what's my mission, what's my vision, what's my values, where am I headed? Once you understand those things, finding good people, easy. You'll be fighting them off with a stick.
Retaining them is hard. Retaining them is hard.
Okay. So what is holding you back? The belief that retaining people is hard. Retaining people is easy. Retaining people is simple. I'm going to jump pages and tell you a story. Oh, I'm jumping heaps of pages. No, we're not going to jump pages. We're going to tell you a story in a minute. Okay, so if you believe getting people is hard, that's a you problem. If you believe retaining them is hard, that's a you problem. When we hold ourselves back by by texted lines on pieces of paper, we stop possibility. So for me, I'm 58 years old. I have lived in chronic pain my entire life. There is not a day that I ever have where I am not in chronic pain. You can ask my wife, she is my carer. I don't usually work in the afternoons. I find it very difficult at this time of day because I can't take painkillers all day and then make sense to you and stay on topic because I bounce off the walls and get it wrong. I'm on the autism spectrum. I have ADHD. I have dyslexia. I have something and I've written it on my piece of paper because I cannot say it very well out loud. Prosopagnosia, which, why not get some terms for dyslexic people and make them really hard to say? So prosopagnosia, I don't think that's how you say it, but that's my best effort, means that I can't recognise faces. So if I turn my back, now I've been married to the same person, actually I've married her 2 times in 26 years. I can't describe her face. After, what was it, about 10 years, I said you had brown eyes? Yeah, she got blue eyes. I can't describe my children. Now, when I'm feeling great, I can recognise, like I recognised Ruby's face. I didn't know where from. I recognised Megan the other day. And most of these guys and Alice I met this morning, so I can manage that. I remembered Laura's face, but Laura and I have spent a lot of time together. But I could have just as easily recognised no one's face. You know how hard that is in business? When you cannot recognise, and people come up to me and go, "Hi, Donna," and they'll tell me these stories like I've known them forever, and I am blank. I have no idea where I know them from. I have no idea where I've met them. So I'm dyslexic, so I'm bad at names, and I can't recognise people's faces. That said, I'm going to grab my notebook. This is out of a letter I wrote to my mum a couple of years ago. And I'm not good at remembering it all. So So for this person who is physically disabled, lives in chronic pain, doesn't have a brain that works the same way as everyone else. And I grew up in an era where they didn't think girls had ADHD. I was just a really chatty, bouncy person that never sat still in class. So I'm an electrician. I spent years, actually I've had many businesses. I spent years repairing cars, motorbikes and machinery. I can design printed circuit boards. Back in the day, I was an AutoCAD designer and programmer when MS-DOS was the program language. I've done electrical sales and accounts. I've done hairdressing, gardening, growing my own food. I worked with homeless people and leaders of industry in WA. I taught woodwork for many years. I'm a youth worker. I did a uni degree. I did a postgraduate degree when I turned 40. I raised 2 amazing human beings. I can build retaining walls, outdoor ponds. I've renovated multiple houses. I've moved across Australia multiple times. Bought my first house when I was 21. I've managed large and small teams from the age of 18 years old. I have delivered presentations to thousands, hundreds, and tens groups of people. I can draw, paint, and design. I'm great at sewing. I cannot cook to save my life. Don't ever get me to cook you anything because I am very, very, very bad at it, but I could build you a kitchen. I'm a life coach. I'm a performance coach. I'm a business coach. I'm also a Reiki master. I also did NOT for a long time. I'm a reflexologist. I taught numerology and meditation for many years. I've owned and operated 7 small businesses, including a beauty shop. I've run not-for-profits and for-profit organisations. I've managed an RTO. And for a while, we owned a beauty shop. Why do I tell you all that? Because I'm a person with a disability. I'm a person who's not supposed to be doing all of those things, because the story, okay, the story that we accept as fact is people with disability don't do that. The only thing holding you back is a texture line around the outside of you. Once you step outside that circle, anything is possible. I'm 58, turning 59. I cannot wait to see what the next 10 years bring. You don't get there by looking and staying stuck in your beliefs. You don't get there by creating a story that doesn't allow for possibility. I tell you my story because I want you to allow for possibility. So, who's in control? So when it comes to sustainable growth, more revenue is not sustainable, more customers, not sustainable, more staff, not sustainable. We can't just keep growing without building capability. Building capability is the most important thing in your business. Once you get that right, you can scale as big as you like. It doesn't matter if you had 20,000 employees or 20 employees. Once you get the model right, once you get capability right, the rest will come. Growth is simply the outcome of getting it right. So once you have capability, your business will grow without you trying. But first you have to build capability. I think I've missed a page, but that's okay. We probably didn't need to do it. When we're looking at what will you focus on? What does that mean? What action will you take? Which part of your brain are you coming from? Are you coming from the survival state where you're fight or flight, we need to make this money or we're going to crash? Are you coming from a relational state where Megan was talking about before, where we're showing up empathetically for people? Or are we coming from a rational state? So say someone like Jack, who is an accountant, so it's all about money, and in accountancies, and the accountancy firm that Jack works for absolutely is not like this. You're looking at me with a panicked look, because I know Jack's boss, Sean, who's been through a couple of my courses, and they genuinely show up and care about your business. How many accountants have you been to and it's all numbers and they don't Look outside of that. We can all expand into all of these areas. But if you're stuck in the survival side and you can't get out of that, you come and talk to me at the end, because that is not a great space to be in. Do we have any questions? No, we're all good. All right. So, how you get up, dress up, and show up matters. Self-awareness is a business superpower. Make no mistake. Understanding who you are, how you show up in the world, the most important thing. Leadership is what people experience, not what you intend it to be. How you show up as a leader, what you allow, what you don't allow, tell your staff so much more than any amount of posters on the wall, team meetings and things like that. People are watching you just like children watch you. They emulate what it is that you're doing. Every leader unintentionally normalizes behaviors. And I encourage you to think about what things you let slide. Do you, if someone at work or maybe a client says a derogatory remark about someone else, is that something that you let slide, or is that something that you pull up? If you let it slide, you're saying that that behavior is okay in that environment. Whether it's a joke, whether it's intended. So our intentions, no one connects with intentions. They can connect with what it is that you actually did. I'm sorry, I didn't intend that to be rude. If it's rude, it's rude. If it's acceptable, it's acceptable. If it's not acceptable, it's not acceptable. I want you to think about how you show up. And accountability starts with us. As the leaders, whether we are the business owner or the leader of a team, accountability starts with us. And when I'm talking teams, I'm also talking about your clients. You are the person who needs to be accountable in that space. So I want you to think about what behaviours have you unintentionally normalised, and which part of your brain is making the decision. Are you stuck in fear, protection, avoiding risk, reacting? Are you in your emotional centre, relationships, belonging and feelings? Or are you in your logic centre, which is reasoning, planning and problem solving? Now, if you're protecting, avoiding risk and reacting, that's a problem. That's something that really needs to shift. And when I see team leaders who are stuck in that space, the staff are so stressed. Whether you think they're stressed or not, they are stressed because they can feel your level of stress. So remember, great leaders learn to recognise which part of the brain is driving their response before they act. Better awareness leads to better decisions. Better questions lead to better outcomes. And could someone tell me the time? Sorry, thank you.
4 o'clock.
Awesome.
This is a little bit left, I guess. How do you communicate urgency without creating that stress?
Yeah.
That, there's a deadline that we have to meet, and it's really important to the business, and there's a lot at stake.
Oh, just leave it there, Jack. It's fine.
Without making people feel
Yep.
stressed.
How do you do it?
Well, I do like well-being check-ins to kind of manage things as we're going. That's
Yep.
kind of the primary thing. We also have and it's not just an open door policy, it's a real
An actual open door.
Actual open door policy or practices that we put in place. So people
Yeah.
come if they're feeling stressed. So there's that sort of thing at the same time. When there is, at the moment, we're becoming registered with the NDIS. So
Okay, so a huge amount of stress.
It's massive. And there's a lot that my staff have to do to make this happen for the business. There's a lot going on, and I'm making this stressful situation and also trying to support them through it. But so how do I be you've got to give me that piece of paper, signed whatever today, rain, hail or shine, without making them feel stressed.
Absolutely. So number one, acknowledge the stress. Look, guys, we're doing the NDIS stuff. This is going to be hard. This is going to take time, and we're all going to feel stressed. If you're feeling really stressed, we've got some well-being things here for you to do, but there are timelines and we need to meet those. And then put it out to the group. Right, how are we going to meet the timelines? How are you guys going to make this happen? So it's not you coming up with the answers, it's them coming up with the answers. And what happens is, if you set a whole bunch of requirements, you will get some people, there is a certain amount of people who will do what they're told to do no matter what, because that's how they show up in the world. There is another portion of people who will do it if you push them, and there's the people who will just dig their heels in and resist. Okay, that's when you are saying it. You give it to them to solve. So this is a problem for them to solve, not for you to solve. Okay, so this is what we're doing. We've, in order to keep our business going, we need to become NDIS registered. As part of that, we're going to be doing this, this, and this. And then you give it to the group. Right, guys, how are we going to make this happen? And you talk last. Because when you come up with the solutions, some people have got their foot in the arena, some people not so much. We want everybody's foot in the arena. In order to make that happen, we have to give them the power to make choices. And then when that piece of paper is due, they're going to be sitting on your desk because you've given them the power to make that happen.
Yes, we do have a little bit of like a, I don't know if it's accountability issue or something, but there's plenty of times where we have had things where the person themselves have come
These
up
are
with
my
what they're
good
going to
people
do.
doing lots of giving me good information.
Yeah, well, yeah. But yeah, they'll come up with the solution themselves and what are their next steps, and they go away to do it, and then I still have to follow up, and I still have
Yeah,
to.
so that's about accountability. That's a different thing. Okay, so getting them to have their foot in the arena, vital. You following up to ensure those things are happening, also vital. I was working with a client this week, and I walked around the factory, and they do printing, and even if he was here, he would have no issue with me saying it was an absolute shit fight. I had to climb over rubbish and stuff that's been the dust on things, and I'm saying your desk isn't just untidy and literally falling on the floor. It's been that way for a long time. Oh no, we just had a tough week. So I can draw pictures in the dust. It's been there a long time. Oh yeah, we've really lately we've found it really stressful and and then we start to unpack that, and I'm always telling them to clean up. Okay, you're telling them no foot in the arena. Hey guys, how are we going to, we can't be like this. It's unsafe. If WorkSafe came through, they would be in so much trouble. Hopefully no one here is working for WorkSafe. If WorkSafe came through, they'd be in trouble. So instead of coming up with the ideas and saying, this is what we're going to do, guys, this is awful. Let's sit down and have a meeting and talk about how are we going to fix this problem, and getting them to actually do the work, do the fixing, and then your job is to keep the accountability in there. So the next time you walk past and there's rubbish sitting next to someone's desk, or there's, what was I trying to climb over? Like, I don't know, these kind of long cylindrical things. And I'm going, is it even safe for them to be there? And I'm, trying to walk through the factory and not crash into anything. The next time that one of those is on the floor, as the leader, now it's your time to say, hey guys, come on, this is not what we talked about, sort it out. And once you've done that a couple of times, people take time to change. It takes 30 days to make a habit, 30 days to break a habit. So if they've had a habit of leaving literally shit everywhere, I did not go into the toilet. I was quite comfortable in the factory going, if it's this dirty out here, I'm certainly not going to walk in there. Now, if the bathroom is that disgusting, no one at work is feeling good because nobody wants to go to a filthy bathroom and no one wants to be the person who has to clean that up either. So getting them into the habit is where, as a leader, you come in with that level of accountability. Come on, guys, we talked about this. If it's not working, you pull them all into a meeting and say, right, we've talked about the factory needing to be sorted out. We did have it clean. You guys are not doing that. What needs to change? Not you saying you need to do, but again, getting their foot in the arena and getting them to come up with the changes. And that will swap everything around. What you need to do is flip it on its head.
Yeah.
Megan, I'm going to give you one of these two because you're a really good girl and you're asking me lots of questions. I love question
You
people.
can love me now because I'm going to remind you that last week I was talking about a construction company that you went in and couldn't get the job done and they weren't working hard and the owner was under a lot of pressure to get the job done. And it was like to add to that story, when there's something extra pressure you're expecting out of your staff, it was about appreciation and reward as well.
Absolutely.
So you said that the owner said if we get through this, we get that and take you all out for dinner on Friday night.
Yeah.
We're kind of going to celebrate that and then they work hard and they've got through it.
Exactly. And thank you for reminding me that. That company now has a chocolate wheel. And when it's your birthday, when they've just had to do something that's just so over and above their normal job, they spin the wheel, and on the wheel it's like he'll take them out to, where's the place we're going on Tuesday? Mexicams. So he takes them out to Mexicams for the night, do, tacos and playing pool and darts and things like that. And they love it. They're like, oh, have we done enough this week that, we're going to get to go out? It's about appreciation. It's about gratitude. Yes, you're paying them to do a job. But if everybody turned up on Monday, actually if every employee only did exactly what was written in their employment contract tomorrow, where would your business be sitting at? Sitting in a good space or a bad space? If they did not do a single thing that was not on that contract. The second a contract comes out, and this is in any situation, the second we have to refer back to the contract, things have gone to shit. You know that there are problems as soon as we're talking about that. So if every employee was only doing the bare minimum, you're going to have one type of business. Discretionary effort is a choice, and that choice starts with you. And it's about how you show up for your people. In my most recent job, so I was working for Genu here in Geelong, and I was the regional training manager for the Barwon region. So I had multiple sites. I had 4,500 students to take care of and 60 direct trainers reporting to me. Now, remember, I'm dyslexic. I can't remember people's faces, and I've got 60 people who want to talk to me every morning. I can tell you that I knew exactly what was going on for every single person in my team. I knew when there was a school carnival on and they needed some time to go and just watch the kids play footy or get an award at school and things like that. If we stayed back, if there was a reason that we had to stay back because things weren't done, we stayed as a team. If it was only one person who wasn't up to speed and couldn't get everything done in the day, we all pitched in and made sure that that person's work was done at the end of the day, myself included. If I needed to sit on reception to make someone else's job easier, I would do that because I showed up for them. And you know what the outcome of that was? They showed up for me all day, every day. There was nothing that I couldn't ask that team to do that they wouldn't do. And likewise, there was nothing that they couldn't ask me to do that I wouldn't do for them. And 6 years later, I still see those guys and they're like, oh, Donna, you were the best boss we've ever had and we love you and we miss you and we want you back. Because I showed up for them and I genuinely cared about what was going on in their world. And they genuinely cared what was happening in ours.
And that kind of thing
And that is how you retain people. Absolutely, 100%. Okay? Culture is built through everyday interactions. Employees and customers deserve the same exact experience, and people stay where they feel, oh, here's a sticker I prepared earlier. Some will have the right one. There we go. You guys have the right one. Here's some stickers I prepared earlier. Every human wants three things. Doesn't matter what country you're in. It doesn't matter what the age of the person is. We all want three things. We want to be seen, we want to be heard, and we want to be valued. If you can do those three things for your staff, you will have a very, very amazing team. It makes all the difference in the world. Okay, understanding your why. We're going to go back to Simon Sinek. Has anyone read the book, Understanding Your Why? You have?
Yeah.
Yep, tell me about it. Or tell us about it. What's your name?
It's the three circles, the golden circles.
Yes, Brendan, the golden circles of understanding your why. What's the purpose?
Some people know what they do.
Mm-hmm.
Some people know how they do what they do, and few people know
Why they do it. Exactly. And that is it. If you go onto YouTube and you Google Simon Sinek why, it's a 5-minute video.
It starts with the TED Talk.
It does start with the TED Talk, yeah. Anything that you watch of him is just brilliant.
I have a dream.
Also brilliant. Simon Sinek, understanding your why. So Ruby before was talking about the person who likes the idea of the carrot and getting the thing at the other end, doesn't like the journey. Their why is not aligned to that business, not at all. Now, that doesn't mean they're not the right person to be in the business. They're not the right person to be in that position in the business. So before I said to you, I'll tell you a story. One-size leadership doesn't work. We know that. There is not a one-size-fits-all. When I was young, when I was going through being an electrician, put up or shut up. So you walk a K&a-half to the bathroom, boo-hoo for you. Get a move on. Go quicker. Work harder. That's what work looked like. It doesn't work that way now. Has anyone heard of Mira Murati? I'm going to say probably none of you, and I like that. And the reason that you don't know about her is because she's in the background doing amazing things. We only hear about the awful stuff. We don't hear about the great stuff. So Mira recently defined how to build an AI company. Murati, so it's Murati. You won't find a lot about her online. She's just absolutely incredible. So she grew up in Albania. She left home at 16 to study abroad. Her goal was to use engineering to change the world. Now, when it comes to a why, that's a pretty powerful why. That's a very, very powerful why. She led teams on Model X, Autopilot, which is the sort of ChatGPTs of old, OpenAI. She was head of the team at OpenAI doing AGI, which is artificial general intelligence. She worked at Codex. She ran teams with DALL-E and ChatGPT. And she left because they were building unsafe AIs. There's not a lot of good stuff happening in the background to take away risk. And she had a vision. Remember her vision? Use engineering to change the world. In 2024, she launched Thinking Machines Lab. It was an AI startup focused on safe, aligned, open models. She raised $2 billion out of the gate and hit 12 billion valuation within the first 6 months. So we're talking massive, massive, massive amount of money in this space. Mark Zuckerberg and Meta, so we all know Meta as part of Facebook. So Meta launched a campaign to poach her entire team. One engineer was offered $1 billion, while her other engineers were offered north of 200 million each. How many people took the offer? Not one. No one took the offer. So someone offers you $1 billion and you say no. Why? Because you believe in her why so much. You are so connected to changing the world. Now, the guy who did get offered $1 billion a couple of months later did actually jump ship. But let's be honest, it's $1 billion fucking dollars. Like, oh my God, excuse my language. That's the first one that's popped out. Usually, I used to, back in the day when it was way worse to say a swear word, I'd be up the front with a microphone. I'd have an auditorium full of people, and the only thing going through my head is, don't say fuck, don't say fuck, don't say fuck. So now I've said it 4 times. I'm feeling very comfortable with that. So yeah, he eventually did jump ship, but it was $1 billion. But, you know, people being offered extraordinary amounts of money. You talk about retention, they need to understand the why. They need to be on board and passionate about that why. What is it you do, who you do it for, and how they show up in the world. So how do we leverage AI in that space? So we can remove repetitive work. We talked about that before. We can automate administration, easy. If you need someone if you're looking for a company that does incredible automation, we've got Jacob sitting over here, and they are awesome. I do a lot of AI in my business, so my AI has access to my hard drive. It has access to everything that I do. For you guys here today, you would have got an email from me that said, you know, hi, thanks for enrolling, all automated. So I go onto my computer, I go /workshop attendee. It says, right, what are their details? I copy and paste it out of the ticket link. It sends you an email, it puts you into my CRM, it tags you into a group, and all I had to do was type 2 words and copy and paste. I've now got it set up when I have a new client come in. I type in new client, it goes onto my hard drive, it goes under clients, it puts a folder in there with your name and your business name on it, it saves your details in there, it goes into my CRM, it saves you in there and puts you into the relevant group, then sends you an email and says, please could you fill out this intake form. When that intake form comes back, I dump that back in, it's put everywhere, and when your meeting comes up, I get a little email that says, hey, this person's coming in and this is who they are and what they're interested in. And all I had to do was type 4 words and copy and paste twice. There are so many ways that you can save time. I was watching the ladies out here, they were taking some photos. And so they had a photographer taking photos of people, and then a lady with her telephone running along behind going, now, what was your name? What business were you from? And she's, now you're wearing a white shirt. So white shirt is this person. Okay, the blue jacket is this person. And I'm watching going, that's just crazy. She could have had her phone with AI on it and said, right, I'm going to give you a series of names and details. I want you to put them in a list. And when I'm finished, I'll tell you I'm finished. And then I want you to send me an email with all those details on it. Vroom, done. Zero effort on her part. Your AI is limited only by your ability to think up ideas. I will be running an AI workshop for small business owners, not the kind of stuff that Jacob does, but just implementing really simple things in your business. I'll be running that in the next couple of months just because I've had so many people ask me. But yeah, AI is just, don't think the big stuff, think the little stuff. What's something simple today that you can get it to do that you don't have to do over and over again? It's just incredible what you can make happen. Okay, diversity is orchestra, inclusion is the performance. Now we hear lots and lots about inclusion. It's about making sure that people with a disability have a seat at the table, and not just a seat at the table, a seat that actually suits them at the table. It's about making sure that people who think differently have a seat at the table. Do you hire specifically for capability or familiarity? Are you hiring people who are like you, or are you hiring people with different skills to you? You should always be hiring people with different skills to you. The more varied your workforce, the better they'll work together, the more they will come together. And you put the right people in the right seats, oh my God, you know, the sky is the limit. I have a company that I'm working with, the ones that do the chocolate wheel that we talked about last time. Now, they've done my accidental leaders course, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. So accidental leaders is for people who have the title of leader but lack the skill set and the types of things we talk about here. We go through that, but we go through that for a whole day, and then you go away for a month, and then you come back and do it for another day, and then I send you off for a month, and then you come back for another day, and hopefully by then, well, generally by then you've got a fairly solid idea of what you're supposed to be doing. Laura's been through that. Why was I? Now I've got totally off track. One of the beauties of having dyslexia is sometimes your brain loses its focus. So, inclusion. So we're making sure that we're supporting different kinds of people. There are 8 different kinds of intelligence. So we have linguistic intelligence, people who are great communicators, writers, public speakers. You could say that I would fit into that category. Logical leaders, so people who are data-driven, problem-solving, great at strategy. Spatial leaders, visionary thinkers. We have kinesthetic leaders who are really good hands-on. That's the kind of person that you'd be looking for. We have musical leaders. My wife's a musician down the back, so you know, really understand rhythm and teamwork and social harmony. Jack is amazing when it comes to running business because it just all flows together for her. It's how her brain works. We have people who have great interpersonal skills, who are empathetic, strong networkers, intrapersonal skills, highly aware, strong personal development, lots of mindfulness. And then we have natural leaders, environmentally conscious, great with systems and thinkers. Now, if you've got someone who's a natural leader, great with systems and thinkers, and you've got them in a position where they're having to be emotional and connected, they're not going to do a very good job. The company that does the chocolate wheel. So when I first went in, I said, right, so what I will generally do with a business when I go in is I'll look at what's working, I'll listen to what you're telling me, but I'm more watching what's going on, because leaders will generally have a way that they believe it's happening, but when we look at it from a ground level, it tends to be a bit different. I talk to the staff, I talk to the clients, and I see what's happening, and then I'll come back with recommendations. One of my recommendations was that the team leader for all the tradies needed to change. He's not the right guy. He said, put him through accidental leaders, we'll see, can we turn him into the right guy? I put him through accidental leaders twice. He is the only person to ever go through it twice and still come out the other end going, and he said all the right things, but the way that he behaved in an employment space was unacceptable. He doesn't work there anymore. Now, we've saved his wage, which was substantial. The boys have actually decided that they don't need a team leader. They're working in mini teams, and it is working so well. Wrong bum on the wrong seat almost derailed it. It's vital that we understand how people think, how they show up, put them in the right place in the business.
Donna, is there some kind of like my test version?
Look, there's a thing called DISC, okay? I am not a fan. DISC's been around for a long time. It is great for regular thinkers. For someone who's neurodivergent, all it's going to show is how well they mask. And so if you put someone who's neurodivergent through DISC, it's going to come back and say they've got skills in these particular areas. What it's really going to show you is how well they mask in those areas, and you're going to burn that person out. So I tend to sort of say, use DISC if you've got a lot of regular thinkers. Be really mindful if you've got some neurodivergent thinkers. I've actually written a book. I haven't, and it's sitting there. It's been sitting there for 12 months, and it uses a very different method of seeing who fits into what space, and I'll send it to you when we get out of here. And yeah, have a read and let me know what you think. I know Justine really well. I've actually written another book, which is part of my Accidental Leaders course. I wrote the book that fits with the leadership course for people who want to read more, because I'm very experiential. I'll give you stuff to read, but I won't go through it. I'll let you do that in your own time. I want to talk to you. I want you to think. I want to do stuff out loud. And it brings us to this, understanding the generational landscape. So, baby boomers. That's your nan and pop who hard workers, never say never, never say die, just get up, do it, and keep going. That's the generation that they grew up in. Gen X, that's me. So we grew up at a time when, you know, your parents kicked you out of the house at 8 o'clock in the morning or 7 o'clock in the morning, depending on how old, you know, what time you got up, and said, do not come back until the street lights come on. All the kids played in the street, you know. We used to, oh man, I don't know how half of us lived through our childhoods, but we did. And now you've got us type of people managing Gen Z and Gen Alpha. Young people who are all about flexibility. You know, Gen Z, they are more than anyone else. They need to understand their why. If you have Gen Z people in your team and they do not understand their why, you are not getting the best out of those young people. And leaders must learn to support that group around their why. It's the thing that keeps them in employment. Okay, you've got to understand how they tick. Gen Z are all about their authenticity. Now, I've never met a furry, but from what I understand, in high schools and schools, there are children now who identify as cats or dogs, and that's how they go through the world. They're gender fluid, okay? They're the generation that will pick up gender fluidity better than anyone else. And all that means is they don't want to have to be a girl who wears a dress and a boy who has to behave in a certain way. You know, I didn't understand what being a trailblazer was at 16, being an electrician in a world where girls just did not do that. All I knew was I did not want to work in an office. And when I left high school, that's what girls did. They worked in offices, they were secretaries, they were never the boss, they were always the worker. And that was just never going to fit for me. This generation, they're all about that. They are all about showing up as their authentic selves. They do not want to work themselves into a grave. And we as managers and leaders have to understand and have to accept how to manage them, how to motivate them in this changing world of what a workplace looks like. These guys do not want to work 9 to 5, 5 days a week. It's not going to happen. Everything is going to change with these guys. And then we have Gen Alpha. Now, Gen Alpha are the kids who are coming through now. They're AI native. They haven't really been in a world that hasn't had digital tech. Have you guys seen, there are schools all around the world. I think this is just amazing. There are schools around the world teaching kids to read, play games and run around, ride bicycles, and connect while wearing blindfolds. Seen it? Look it up online. It is brilliant. These kids are reading books, 6 years old, full blindfold on, and blah, 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 word for word. They are playing catchy. So, you know, if I'm throwing the ball to Paul and throwing the ball to these guys, and then you swap and they say, throw the ball to Paul, and I've got blindfold on, and now I'm throwing it to him over here, even though when I put a blindfold on, he was on the other side. Amazing stuff. There's a school in Geelong, and there is a school in Werribee teaching this stuff. It is amazing. For our baby boomers, our Gen Xers, and even for some of our millennials, can't get your head around that. It's just so different. This is what we are going to be leading in the next 10 years. We have to get our heads around it. It's vital. And it's just mind-blowing. I've actually had a bit of a play with it. So we were at home and Jackie and I had a friend with us. And she said, oh, I don't know if that's real. And Jackie said, I bet you Donna can do it. I said, all right, I'll give it a shot. Love giving anything a shot. It's just who I am. She walked out of the kitchen, walked up behind me and said, what am I holding? Now, I'm sitting in a chair facing this way. I cannot cheat. Even if I tried, I couldn't cheat. Eyes shut, facing this way, comes out of the kitchen with something behind my head. And I went, it's a pen. She's gone, how the fuck did you know that? We have these skills. We just have never been taught how to connect with it. We use less than 12% of our brain power. What do you think the other 88% is for? These kids are working it out. And if you want to keep in business, you've got to learn how to manage these guys and get them on board. And it's fascinating. Yes, Ruby?
Just with the finding out our staff why, obviously we can do a little unpack session with them and talk to them.
Absolutely.
Is there
You've been very
like
good
a
too.
little survey or something like that that we can do to help unpack that why a bit to start that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Watch the Simon Sinek video. He actually breaks it down and tells you how to do it. And to find your own why. I did the exercise, I don't know if you've done it, where they say go to all of your friends and ask them why they're friends with you. And at the beginning they'll say, well, you know, because you're my friend, because, you know, we had the same this and the same that. And then they will get to a place where they say, because you make me feel seen, because you make me feel heard, you make me feel loved, you make me feel like anything is possible. When they get to that part of the conversation, that's where they're talking about your why. And my why has always been to be an ambassador of conscious thought and action. And I wrote that down when I was 19 years old. And you didn't talk about that stuff back then. You know, we barely talk about that stuff now. But I always knew it. For me, it was about waking people up. And when I look back at my life and the challenges and things that I've had, I absolutely get why I've had those challenges so that I can be here having these conversations now. And I love that. I think that's just amazing. All right, attention versus commitment. So we're almost finished. So why do customers choose you? All right, I'm going to ask this lady here. What was your name?
Jacinta.
Jacinta. Why do customers choose you? Why do they stay and why do they leave?
I think for us, because we're really good with our customer service, we're kind, we're reliable, we provide what we say we're going to provide to
Excellent.
top quality every time, and
Yep.
they know what they get when they come to our business.
And so why do they leave?
Question.
Mm.
Because, well, I think probably because maybe we're not as glamorous as some of our competitors. I'm not.
What do you do?
I'm a florist.
Okay.
So we're quite. It sounds really awful. Sorry, but we're quite humble.
Love it. Perfect.
And perhaps we're not as aggressive or as attention
Grabbing, yeah.
grabbing.
Yeah.
We just like that we have a
You're
good
quieting in the background and you just do what you're doing,
like that.
and we don't kind of be too showy out the front.
Yeah. And
What would happen if you took that beautiful, humble space and you were showy out the front and you stayed humble?
perhaps that's the circle that we're in.
Perhaps that's the circle.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So how do you take where you're at and the things that you do so well and show them out in the world? Because we need more of that. We need more humble and beautiful things out in the world. So Credibility is your greatest competitive advantage, all day, every day. Marketing creates your awareness. So marketing, we're out there in the world, creates the awareness for us. Credibility creates the trust. So we show up, we do what we say we're going to do. We do that to a good quality level. No surprises. Trust creates loyalty. People want to come back to us because we do a great job. And loyalty creates sustainable growth. So first we have to make people know that we're out there. So Nathan's an electrician. So we've just done some great flyers and stuff. So when he's out on the job, he can hand flyers in to the houses around. That's step one, getting people to know that you exist. Credibility, they can talk to the neighbour and who's just had him in to know that he's doing a great job. So that credibility comes in. Yeah, Nathan did a great job for us. Awesome, we can now trust Nathan. Now we get Nathan to come and work for us. Again, he does a great job. Now we know about him. We know we've trusted him because he's done work for someone else and for us. And now we've created the loyalty that creates sustainability. Okay, so people need to feel loyal to you. They are only going to feel loyal to you when they feel that they can trust you and that no matter what, you will always get the same thing. For myself, in the presentation this morning, I said, no fluff and no bullshit. I will tell you right to your face exactly what you're doing wrong. And I will do that gently, but with a stick. Okay, because if you're not listening, I will get you to listen, because I can't do my job well if I tell you, oh, no, that's okay. Look, you're doing a fabulous job. It's all fine. Everything's good. Then I'm deceiving you. So for me, I show up and I go, no, this is not okay. And this is why it's not okay. But this is what we're going to do about it. And people know, the people that work with me, I work with a lot of different kinds of business. I work with a lot of trade-based businesses. I don't really work with sales. Like I don't work with people who have products. I work with people who do services. And the conversation is always the same. It is raw and it's real and it's honest, because the more honest I am with you, the more ability you have for change. And if you didn't need change, you wouldn't be sitting in my office. And people say to me, you know, I had a guy come in to a workshop earlier this year, and now I'm all about being on time. I respect your time, you respect my time, we're all good. He walks in 10 minutes late, he turns his chair sideways to the table, crosses his arms and starts to stare out the window. And I got the biggest grin on my face and I'm like, yes, challenge accepted. Oh, how quickly can I turn him around? 7 minutes. 7 minutes, I had that man sitting there going, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Oh, it is. You know, elbowing the guy next to him and he's madly riding away, because I'm raw and I'm real and that's how I show up. Now, it doesn't matter what day you get me. It doesn't matter who I'm talking to. I'm always going to be raw and real. You always accept the same, you know, I'm always going to show up exactly the same way. I want you to think about how you show up. How you show up for your staff. Are you always the same way? Or if you've had a fight with your partner, are you going to take it out on your staff in the morning? How do you show up in the world? Do you put your baggage in a little bag when you come in the door and you run your day, and then you pick up your baggage, or you can just leave it on the way out? Or do you bring it with you? And if you have staff who bring it with them, then you need to work with those guys, because you need to leave your shit at the door. We're all human beings. We all have tough stuff happening. When we come to work, that's an escape from those things. It's our ability to really knuckle down and create change. So again, marketing creates awareness, credibility creates trust, trust creates loyalty, loyalty creates sustainable growth. And in that space, we can use AI to write content, create marketing campaigns, automate communication, understand legislative requirements, you know, chuck a contract in, get it to spit it out for you in normal words that you can understand. We've never been in a position ever before in humanity where our knowledge is no longer our superpower. So now we've got to look at what's left, and that's our emotional intelligence. That's our humanity. That's how we show up in the world. So AI can't create credibility. Credibility is earned through consistent action. All right. So before you leave, I want you to think about, where has your business invested time and money in the past 6 months? Where have you put time into? Is it marketing? Is it technology? AI, staff, leadership, systems? Where are you putting your effort, and is it in the right place for where your business is at? AI amplifies. We've got great leadership, it makes it better. We've got great culture, it makes it better. We've got great systems, it makes it better. If we do not have those things, poor systems will remain poor, strong leadership will remain strong, poor leadership will remain poor. AI is just a tool as part of the tools in your toolbox. All right, scaling with purpose. So which of the 6 or 7 capabilities that we've talked about, so leadership, marketing, AI, all of these things, which capability of strengthen first will make the biggest difference in your business in the next 12 months? Where's step 1?
I have a question about that. For me, I feel like before I scale up, I need to put some systems in place, especially AI
Yep.
automation.
Absolutely.
But then someone might say, well, how do you know what to put in place? You don't know what the growth, what the direction of growth
Yep,
looks like.
absolutely. Always invest in your leaders first. Great leadership will then build better quality AI that fits into more spaces, because your leadership mind, that mindset change, will change everything. Businesses don't become sustainable by accident. It's about deliberately building capability in your business, and that starts with building leadership. All right. I'm offering you guys a 30-minute free chat for every business in this room. I encourage you to take me up on it. It's in the back of this sheet. If I can just borrow that. So it's on your back page of there. There's a couple of QR codes. One will give you a complimentary conversation with me. The other one is our Accidental Leaders program, which is starting on Wednesday. Now, I have 3 spare spots there. That is not something that usually happens. If you're interested in doing some leadership training, I encourage you to hit me up tomorrow and have a chat and think about coming next week. It will make change in ways you can't even imagine. I just did 90 minutes for free. Just imagine what I can do for you when you pay me. Thank you all very, very much.